Hey, hi everyone. Hope you guys are doing great and that you and your family are pretty safe in this hard time of COVID-19. But no worries, things are going in the right direction. Things are getting better, even if these conditions right now are pretty drastic and restrictive. But definitely, we are going to go through it. No worries. In the meantime, please let me entertain you with some of these videos. This is the second video that I'm releasing this weekend. Pretty happy and proud of myself. I released one last week, so we're on the road. Everything seems to be flowing. Okay, so now, what's the subject today? As you guys know, Team GANNOU has hired Rico Verhoeven to prepare him for his upcoming fight with Cyril GANE. So basically, that's what we're going to discuss about today. Is it a good thing? Why did they do that? Or did they have a reason to do that? And guys, what do you think? Do you think that it's a good thing? Do you think that it's worth it and that this is going to prepare him well for his upcoming main event fight against the Bongama? Let's see. So definitely, to be honest with you, what I think about this move, I mean, there's nothing but positive thinking on my part, because to me, it is the realization that basically of the work that GANNOU team is putting behind in provision to that fight. Basically, I do think that they did analyze and look at the video of the fight involving Cyril GANE. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of footage that they can base themselves on, that they can review, that they can look at. And that's the good thing, and that's the great thing about a guy who maybe doesn't have that knockout power or likes to spend a lot of time in the octagon like Cyril GANE does. What it does is that it provides a good volume of videos to be able to study the strengths and weaknesses of your opponent. What I think Team NGANNOU did. And not only have they done that, but by hiring Rico Verhoeven, I do believe that they also have assessed the weaknesses and the strength, but more likely the weaknesses of Francis NGANNOU compared to the strength of Cyril GANE. Why am I saying that? Basically, with my little knowledge, all right? So I'm not comparing myself, and I'm saying myself as a great coach or a great trainer or stuff like that. Let's talk about, we're just talking, sport talking between fans, okay? So looking at NGANNOU's last fight and even the fight against Stipe Miocic, you can see that NGANNOU is susceptible to attacks with front kicks in the middle, right? And that is susceptible to attacks with head kicks, right? Because Francis NGANNOU, unfortunately, if you look at his video, except maybe the one that where he's fighting, example, Stipe Miocic, his right hand was pretty high there to protect his head and his temple, right, against high kicks. But you can see that in the center, Francis NGANNOU is very susceptible to flying knees and also susceptible to front kicks. So I do believe that the reason why they got Rico Verhoeven in there is for his ability to be able to kick, to do high kicks, to do front kicks, right, low kick, what have you. And I think that that's the reason why they have him in there, right? And you can see that Francis NGANNOU in this video here, you can see that it's pretty much, his hands are high, right, ready to block the kicks coming his way from Rico Verhoeven, right? So if we move back again, we're gonna see it. Hands up, right? Boom, parry the kicks, throw his own kicks, boom, right? So definitely we can see that if he's there, if Rico Verhoeven is there, is to prepare NGANNOU, right, to be able or to slip those kicks or to block them, right? But at least to be aware that Ciryl Gane will throw these kicks, right? The only thing that I didn't see, let's say, is that obviously to be able to parry those kicks, right, you have to know when they're coming, right? And that's the unknown in there, because Ciryl Gane throws so many fakes, right? So many feints before throwing his kicks or his punches that at times you really don't know when he's going to throw them, right? But at least NGANNOU is going to be aware that he has to keep his hands up, and he's going to be aware that he has to be careful about the flying knee and the kicks coming up the center, right? And I do believe that that's a good thing, and that's a good reason basically to hire a guy like Rico Van Hanover. And don't forget that this guy has monstrous kick. Not only has he monstrous kick, but this is, if you let's look at the physical specimen when we're talking about Ciryl Gane, and we're talking about Francis Ngannou being 6'4" and being like 250, 255, 200, even 360 over pound, right? So here you got a monster of a kickboxer who's 6'5", so very like towering all these two guys, I mean taller than these two guys, and who weighed 262 pounds, right? So this is a big guy. So definitely when he's going to kick, right, his range, in terms of his range, he's got a longer range that I do believe that Ciryl Gane, whether it is on striking or in kicking, I do believe that he's got a longer range, right? And you got a specimen, a physical specimen that is at the measure of Ciryl Gane and Francis Ngannou. So we're not talking about someone who is going to mimic totally Ciryl Gane's style. That's not the goal, I don't think. That's not the objective. The objective is just to make sure that you are aware that kicks are coming up the center, that kicks are coming up your head, right? You got to be aware of that. You got to be aware that there's flying knees that can come as well, or low kicks. So that's the reason why it's there. And the power also maybe of those kicks being there. But when we're talking about speed, when we're talking about elusiveness, when we're talking about feints before throwing, that's a different story. That's something that maybe Francis Ngannou is going to have to handle himself in the octagon against Gane, or by putting someone in there who's doing a lot of feints regardless, right? You have to put someone who's doing a lot of things. So now, when you look at this guy, a monster really, right? Glory champion. I've looked at some of his fights. I mean, I don't think that he's the most impressive fighter, but the objective why they hire him makes sense though. So you can see that this is a guy that still lands about 10 and a half strikes per minute, right? And when we're talking about his elusiveness, his movement, you can see that there's a big difference here. There's kind of a difference between his stats and the one from Ciryl Gane, where you can see that he's absorbing almost the same number of shots, the same number of shots than he's giving, right? So I mean, the strike differential is for something, so I don't think that's very huge, but his striking accuracy though is pretty interesting. So whether it is kick or punches, and actually that would have been interesting to see in terms of striking accuracy, what would have been the most accurate? Is it his kicks or is it his punches? And watching his fight, I do believe that his kicks are a lot more accurate than his punches, so which makes again better sense for him to be hired. That makes better sense for him to be hired and to actually train with Francis Ngannou. So very good thing. I think I see it from a good eye. Great stuff. It just shows that they are able to look at their fighters' weaknesses and their fighter weaknesses, their strengths. They look at his opponent weaknesses and strength and be able, to devise a strategy to be able to, mitigate the strengths of his opponent, so that he can move forth his qualities, his fighter's qualities. So great move all across the board. I think that's fantastic. It just shows that Team NGANNOU is taking that fight seriously, very seriously, and that Cyril Gane has his work cut out for him. And I think that this is not going to be an easy walk in the park as some people think, right? So we'll see. We see you next. I don't want to see. I'm very eager to see what you guys think. If Rico Van Honhoven in NGANNOU camp is a good thing or if it's a bad thing, and basically, have your opinion on the subject matter. All right, guys. So talk to you later, and be safe. Have a good time.